Hey everybody, Jake Perez here, streaming live on my Tuesday night show, which I've been doing for a couple of weeks here. I've got a special guest on with me tonight. We're going to hang out for a little bit and chat about some life transformation stuff, some grounding stuff. Some of you may have seen my video earlier of me walking in the grass. We're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. Something I know very little about, but I'm interested in learning everything there is to know about improving life, and I'm open to all kinds of different things. So my purpose in this show is to bring people on who know things I don't know, and so I want to learn, and hopefully some of you can learn some things that'll help improve your life as you hang out with us here on Tuesday night. So I have a special guest on with me tonight, the barefoot coach herself, Judy Mark. And Judy, welcome to the Jake Perez Show live on Tuesday nights. How are you, Judy?
I'm great. Thank you, Jake. This is an honor. We've been wanting to do this for a while, and when you messaged me last week, you're like, let's do it live. I'm like, yes, just yes, for sure. Anytime
Yeah,
we can talk about transforming lives, for sure.
absolutely. Well, I'm so happy to have you here. And I know we go back, I don't know, a year or two. We've talked on the phone a couple of times, chatted a good bit. I've seen what you've been doing. Anybody who's following Judy Mark and has seen her body of work over the last couple of years know Judy's undergone some amazing transformations in her own life. And she's, I guess, kind of how we hooked up. She's dedicated her life to helping other people transform their lives as well. That's a super huge passion of mine, which is, why I'm getting to hang out here with Judy tonight. So, Judy, you want to tell us a little bit about that journey? Like, I've seen it. People who've been following you for a couple of years have seen it. I guess it goes back to maybe 2017 or so when I first started seeing your stuff online. You want to kind of fill us in on that journey, how it started, and maybe how you got to where you are now.
Yeah, and I always like to ask people, do you want the long version or the short version? But obviously tonight we are on a short version stick because it would be it's 2 books long if we were to go all the way. But
Well, we can always
take
do
it,
around. We can always do a round two if necessary. But I'm listening. Anything you
yeah,
want to tell me tonight?
right. So honestly, yes, 2017. That's probably how far back it really started in the like working on myself physically. But I've gone through. I mean, we can go all the way back to when I was 7 years old, right? But it really my life has consisted of a lot of different things. I mean, all the way back to when I was 7, I read a book called Florence Nightingale, and I wanted to be a nurse. I wanted to grow up and be a nurse, and I wanted to help people. And fast forward, I spent my entire life, of course, I grew up as a Mennonite, and in those circles, that's basically the only career option for a girl, and which suited me fine because that's what I wanted to do. And so I had geared myself and put myself, and because my education only took me to grade 9, the nurses training does not accept grade 9 education, regardless of how smart you are or
Mm-hmm.
what level you're at.
Sure.
And so I went and took my grade 12 on my own, and it was that year that I applied for nursing school that I found out that my education, even the grade 12 that I did have, was not good enough.
Hmm.
And they told me this year we are not going to accept GED grade 12 graduates. We are not accepting those applicants. You will have to
Hmm.
go take grade 10, 11, and 12 all over again. And I was at a time in my life, I was leaving the church at that time. I was going off on my own. I had left everything behind. I went to start my life over, and I was working 3 jobs, and I was a mess mentally. I was in such a mess. I would sometimes think to myself, if I could just go to sleep, if I could just not breathe for a while, then I
Mm.
just wouldn't have to do this anymore. I wasn't never to that point of suicidal, like I just to be clear, but it was that thing of, I just don't want to do this anymore. I'm so
Mhm.
done, and panic attacks and anxiety attacks. And I went into the I live up northern Canada, right? So it's winter is nasty. And so I went in the ditch probably 10 times purely because I was so distracted about what was going in my head and I was so exhausted. I burnt myself completely out. And I drove to with my car, my dog, and everything I could fit in my car, and I drove 1,000 miles in -40 weather and to start over. And it was during that time when I found out that I couldn't be a nurse. And I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do with my life? I have planned all this all along to help people. This is what I was going to do. And now I can't. And I spent a year just like going from job to job, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. People are like, you're really good with massage. Maybe you should do that. So then I'm like, I don't know. Okay, I checked that out. Well, again, 2 to 4 years minimum of schooling. I couldn't go to school. I was trying to survive.
Sure.
And so then I slowly started to add certain different massage treatments, take some certifications, do some of that. And then I learned that I could be a care aide, which was a nurse's assistant without getting the nurse's training. So I did that for 2 years. And that's when I came to the realization of, wait, do I want to do this for the next 30 years of my life, live paycheck to paycheck, live a shift work? By then I had a son, miss out on my son's life, and then be exhausted, and at the end of 30 years, have barely a pension to do what with.
Right.
And it was about that time someone sent me a video, and it was by Lisa Nichols. It was a 14-minute visualization. If you guys haven't watched it, you need to watch this, and I can put it in the link in the comments later. But it changed my life, and it made me visualize. And in it, when you listen to it, it made me realize that, oh my gosh, what will I have to do in my life to get this to happen? And I realized that what I was currently doing was not going to be what it was. And so I had then branched into my massage business. That was 8 years ago. And I said, okay, I don't want to do this for 30 years. I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck and work for someone else. So let me start my life, be my own boss. So I started my massage business. And that was 8 years ago. Anyway, and so literally because of my other business, I actually shut that business down last Monday. I closed my door. It was quite an emotional day. It was 8 years in that business, and I'm not doing it. I'm going on the road now because I do have options there, but it has been that's the life story, I guess, and a very short version of the life story. But honestly, it has been mental transformation for me. And it's like your body goes through transformation. As you know, you lose weight, you exercise, you eat healthy, your body takes on a transformation. But really, what is required is the 6 inches between your ears. That's where it happens.
Yeah, 100. So you would say it all. So I've been through kind of a similar transformation. My story is very different. All of our stories are different. But for you, about 8 years ago, it sounds like the turning point was visualization, right? There's this 14-minute video you can put in the comments later, and you stumbled on this visualization thing, right? And that's kind of where it all started turning for you. Is that right?
Yeah, and speaking of law of attraction, because I know we've talked about that, I had watched The Secret when I was probably 16, and I went, oh my gosh, that's cool, and I believed it, I felt it, right? I'm like, this is correct, I can feel it. And it was later on that was when I met Lisa Nichols, because she's in The Secret. She's one of the people in The Secret. And so this was one of her things. And so I started to follow her. I've been following her for years now. And so I've learned a lot from her in that department. But truly, that's the whole manifesting a better life for yourself is where it happened. And then of course you get to where you outgrow certain situations and people, and it's hard to even fathom that, because often we do not fear. It's hard to explain what each person faces. Those fears, like you fear success, but at the same day, you're sometimes afraid that you're going to outgrow the people you love. And guess what? You will. But it's okay because when you come to understand that the people you love and they love you, if it's a true unconditional love with no expectation, they will either allow you to grow and they will grow you and protect you and help you, or they will just disappear. And so you don't necessarily have to cut people out of your life. You just need to raise your standards generally, and either people will rise to the standard or they will just not be there,
Love
you
it.
know?
So law of attraction kind of stuff, right? We're getting into a little bit of
Mm.
vibration, and I believe a lot about, you know, people, people who are on a certain level, on a certain vibration, tend to find each other, right? They tend to vibe together,
Yes,
and so sometimes when we say we're growing, right, we're learning to raise our frequency in life, and if we raise our frequency, and there are people that we're associating with, and they don't raise their frequency, it's going to be a natural kind of separation, I think, right? Is that kind of what you found?
it is.
Yeah.
It
So,
is. It really is.
so it's pretty cool. Like, I've followed your stuff a lot, but we didn't really talk a whole lot before we jumped on here today. So to hear you say that it's really started with visualization for you is super cool, because I watched The Secret, and I did a lot of Bob Proctor stuff, and I've always been
Yes.
interested in personal development and all that stuff. But for me, I think, I guess, a couple of years back, I got hold of some visualization stuff, right? And I was trying to get healthier. I wanted to lose some weight, and I've been talking about that for the last couple of weeks with some people. And so really what it was for me, so I lost, I guess you've lost some weight, right? You're looking great. You've lost some weight over the last couple of years, I guess, as well.
Like 50 pounds.
50
Like
pounds.
50
That's
pounds.
amazing. That's amazing. So
Let's
I'm
see
at
if I
about,
can find it. Let's see if I can find it.
all right. So
But
I'm,
you go, you keep talking. I'll find a
all right.
picture.
So I'm at about 40 pounds that I've dropped in the past couple of years or something like that. And for me, I've had a lot of people ask, like, what diet were you doing? Were you doing keto? Were you doing vegan or whatever it was? But that wasn't it at all. Okay. Okay. Yeah, there we go. So
And then, yeah.
if any of you want to see Judy's before and afters, check out her Facebook profile. She's got a bunch of amazing before and after photos from going back, I guess, 2017 to now. She's undergone an amazing physical change, but to me, and you've already alluded to it, as cool as the physical change is, there's so much more to it than that, right? And so that's kind of what I stumbled on a couple of years ago when I also learned to change myself through visualization. And it was the exact same thing for me. It was getting those mental images of what you want, visualizing the type of life you want. So for me, it started with health and what I wanted my body to look like and how I wanted to feel. And as I began to see that manifest itself, then all of a sudden, I started realizing, wow, the possibilities are kind of endless, right? And I've read a
Mm-hmm.
lot of Dr. Joe Dispenza stuff. Are you familiar with Joe Dispenza?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, I read Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, right? And I'm reading Becoming Supernatural right now. And so I began to realize, not only can we change ourselves physically, but from the inside out, we can change almost anything we want about life. And I'm pretty pumped about that. So even though I didn't know the details of your story, I'm not at all surprised, because it's very similar to my story.
Yeah, it really has all to do with the mental. Like, and I teach my team that all the time too, is it is so important to start your morning off right. Like, um, starting the habit of starting right and having routine, even if you're an entrepreneur or if you're not an entrepreneur, if you're working a job or you have a business, it doesn't matter. Your self-care needs to be so important, and really the biggest portion of my latest transformation mentally has been learning to, and women especially deal with this, is they need validation, outside validation. They need to be told every day they're beautiful. They need to be told every day all these things. And it's like, when you can go on a journey that takes you out of that realm, it is mind-blowing. And I mean, I'll keep it clean and I won't swear today because that'll mess up our algorithms. But it is very mind-screwing to get yourself through that and go through that transformation of going from relying on and being that person that needs that validation and thinking you don't, but you're looking for it, whether it's in your posts, in your pictures. Women need that validation, and when they can take that validation and learn to validate themselves and find that self. When you say self-care, that is a huge topic. I mean, we're talking about if you were the last person on earth and you could just be your own weather. You can control the weather in your own environment 100%, no matter what's going on around you. It might be actually easier if you're the only person in the world, but if it's really about how self-validated are you? How there's another word I'm looking for, it's not coming to me, but really just having that full understanding of yourself, what you want, what you are going for, and not allow your emotions to be controlled by anyone else. And for women, this is a big thing. They allow certain people to control them, and whether that's emotionally, physically. And when a woman can understand that she doesn't need anybody financially, physically, or mentally, or like for any other reason, but she can choose to have the people in her life that support and help her grow, that is a transformation all by itself. That is all by itself huge.
I love it. I love it. I totally agree. And what I'm hearing you say is, especially for women. I mean, it's true for men and women, but I totally understand. It's especially true for women that though we look for validation, and guys do it too, right? But the true happiness, the true strength in life comes from inside out. It doesn't come from outside in. And a lot of people are stuck. A lot of people are stuck looking for that external validation, right? I mean, I think every human can be guilty of that. I know I've been guilty of that in my own life. Sometimes we think, if this happens in my life, or I make that much money, or whenever I get to a certain level of something or other, then I'll be happy, then I'll be satisfied, then I'll be fulfilled. But what you're talking about is just wherever you are right now, you're good enough, you're okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and really it's like blossoming from the inside out, right?
Yep, and I think it's very important to understand, and this is going for people who are either like single or whatever. Not applying to people in relationships, but people who they bounce from relationship to relationship, and what's happening is you're looking for that constant. You're never going to be happy because you are never fulfilled within yourself. Now, this is what I teach my girls and my team is I'm like, you're single and you hooked up with me and my business, I will keep you that way, and I will kick your butt. I will kick your butt if you don't commit. Because what's happening is by growing, let's say you're single man or woman and you want more out of life. The very best thing you can do is start working out, start working on your diet, staying single, attaching yourself to a business or a career or a dream, something, and have a vision of what you want, and then have a goal. Let's say I will not get in a relationship till I hit my first million or something like that. Because what happens is then you are being held accountable to what you said. And if you have someone who can hold you accountable to that, that's even better. But if you can go through that process of becoming loyal to yourself, and this is what I say to some of my girls is we've had these conversations. It's okay, well, maybe if he wasn't married, I'd go hang out with him. I didn't know I said, why does that matter? You're not going to hang out with anyone anyway. You're supposed to be having that singular mindset. That I am not interested in you for anything else. Then can we help each other's dreams and businesses or whatever, right? Yep. And when I can help them, because I've had this, smacked into my brain too, because I've had to go through that thing of, oh, out of one relationship, let's bounce to another one and just repeat ourselves and repeat all the mistakes we made the last one. And it's like, if you can't first completely become self-reliant, you're going to repeat yourself. And guess what? You're not going to be satisfied. So until you become so satisfied in this life as a singular person, you can add so much more value to people. Plus, you're not going to just jump into the first thing that comes along. And hence, like I used to refer to the peach tree, don't be the one on the bottom that's easy to pick. Get your values at the top, because then only the people who qualify are going to put the effort to crawl that high. So, yeah,
All right,
that's a big talk
now we're stumbling into some relationship wisdom here. I hope my daughters check this out. I've got 3 grown daughters, and and so yeah, y'all my daughters, y'all listen to Judy Mark. She's got some great advice for young ladies right here.
Stay single. Just stay single. No.
Super cool. I love it. I mean, so you're talking about so you're getting into your team, and so you do a lot of coaching. I guess you mostly do coaching with women. Is that kind of your focus there?
Well, right now, like I've been working in the coaching space for a while, and I started with fitness coaching, and then I realized I was just passionate about my own fitness, and coaching was more on a transformation of the mind. And it's a big space to get into, because until you truly have been through a mind transformation yourself, it's really coaching is a big word, and everyone and their dog is doing it. So I have really just been focusing my coaching more in my team right now. And then I do some social media coaching, actually cold market social media coaching, because that's a space that most anyone doesn't delve into. So I really love to help people learn the art of connection again. And whether that's with themselves or that's with people to create a better business. I mean, I'm in an industry that's very can be very looked down on because of the way it's done. And so it makes me cringe when people are icky about it. And so I like to help people learn the art of connecting with themselves first, and really sharing your story. And every one of us has a story. Our story is our magic. It's what connects us to people. And so if we can have that connection with those around us, everything gets better. I mean, think about the richest people in the world. How did they get there? They didn't do it by themselves. It was their relationships. It was their connections. It was who they knew that knew someone else. And it's about adding value to other people's lives. So most of my coaching right now is directed in to my other business, in my team, and stuff like that. So
gotcha. So you kind of got into it with fitness coaching, and you found out that you kind of went from that into the mindset stuff, right? Because that's kind of where I am, and so I know so many people do want to change their bodies, but it really is all about changing your mind, right? So do you still do a lot of visualization, meditation, anything like that?
Oh yes, like absolutely every day. I either listen to a Les Brown or a Bob Proctor. I watch a lot of Eric Worre as well for business school. But then I love Lisa Nichols. I love who's the other one? Zig Ziglar is really good. Let's see. Yeah, like those older people that really broke the space, because right now all the gurus, everybody is just repeating what's already been said. So I like to go back to the original and go, because really it doesn't matter how many coaches there are going to be in the world, or whatever everyone wants to call us. I don't even qualify that anymore, because coaching has become such a overpopulated. Everybody's an expert, and they don't want to admit that they have issues too. And so it's a very big space of who can outdo anyone else. And I've come to realize that when you are helping people, it doesn't have to have a label. It just has to be an adding of value. So the whole coaching world is kind of watered down. So I think when we can do something like this, and what you're doing is not just coaching people, but actually leading by example. Like you are living it. And
Hmm.
that's really huge, really huge.
I love it. I love it. Right. I mean, that's really what it's all about. Is whatever you call it. It's just for me. I'm like I said. I'm trying to create the space just because there's a lot of people that just hate their lives out there, right? Like you were talking about, just
Hmm.
wanting to go to sleep and not wake up for a long time, and it might not be suicidal, but you don't want to get out of bed, and you don't want to face what you have to face every day, right?
Yeah.
And I think there are some people out there, a lot of people we know in this space that are trying to help people understand they can have, you know, the type of life that they want to have, right? I mean, you go back to Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, and so much of modern, coaching world kind of stems from that, right? And a lot of people do
Yeah.
reiterate that. And I mean, in fact, a lot of Bob Proctor's work is really just built on top of Napoleon Hill's work, right?
Yes. Yes, it
Um,
is. Yeah.
so if someone's watching this right now, right, and my audience is probably a little bit different than your audience, but if someone's watching this right now and they're stuck in that situation, right, they're kind of hating their life, they might be suicidal, they might, they just might kind of hate what they do every day. Maybe they just hate their job and they feel like they're stuck in it for the next 20 or 30 years. They don't have a choice. I mean, what is one bit of advice you would give to a person like that? I mean, what can they do to get on this path of improving their life?
I think there's two things, just two tips for you to take away from this, honestly. And that is number one, start doing mirror work. And if you need help with that, reach out to somebody. I'm sure like Jake's got ideas, I've got stuff. If you need help with that, you need to really learn some mirror work.
Could
And
you repeat
then
that? What kind of work?
mirror, like in
Mirror.
the mirror.
Oh, got
Yes.
it.
So that is a whole that's a step. That is
Okay.
something you can start with to it's a challenge. And it will challenge anybody because it's you are learning to face the person in the mirror. And I've had people, here's a funny story, but at the same time it has a lesson. So I had someone reach out to me once and ask me, so just tell me, like, I know you don't want to date me, but just tell me, would you date me if you were dating? Just be honest. And I said, do you really want me to be like, I'm brutally quite honest. Like, do you want my truth? Okay, okay, I can do that. I'm nice, but I'm honest. And I said, okay, go to the mirror and look in the mirror. Now, what do you see? Would you date that?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Now he's like, oh, ouch. I said, if I go to the mirror and okay, I won't say it that way. Go if you are confident, if you love who you are, if you are happy with the progress you are making, and you look in the mirror, you should be able to say, "Oh, yes, I would date me."
I got it. I love it.
So if you're not there, yeah, you shouldn't be dating, and you shouldn't be asking anyone to date you.
Love it. So that goes back to the advice you gave earlier, right? It's just kind of buckle down, work on your health, work on your nutrition, work on your state of mind.
Yes,
And one thing that I've thought about a lot, I've been around a while. I'm 46 years old, so I've been around and been through relationships and all that kind of stuff. And one thing I've seen, is that you're absolutely right. If we don't fix whatever's going on with us first from the inside out, we're just going to take that stuff into new relationships, right? And it just repeats itself. Like whether it's relationships, whether it's your health, whether it's your weight, whether it's your attitude or problems you've had on jobs, if you don't if you don't do the mirror work, if you don't do the another term I've heard, which is a little different, but I've heard people use the term shadow work, right? If you don't go inside and do that work, you're just going to keep repeating it, right? You can
yeah.
move to another state, you can meet new people, but you're just going to keep going through that same stuff, right?
Yeah. And
Okay,
and
so
another thing, I think another like really that mirror work. There's a whole routine I do. So if you guys want the routine, I did a video on it once. If anyone wants it, let me know. But it is where I started, and I mean we all need a space to start. That was step one. I could do, and I was wearing a head covering at the time, like So I would have my hair up like in a head covering, and I could do all of that without looking at myself in the mirror. Like I would just look at my hair, I would do it, but I would never once look at myself in the mirror. That's how much I avoided it. I could not. So going from that to like making videos and then doing lives, and it's like, what?
Hey,
but
I wasn't really bringing this up. Not only doing lives, but how about all those TikToks you do, huh?
Yes.
I think Hollywood's closed down right now, but whenever they open back up, I'll take a look at Judy Mark's TikTok.
Yeah.
Funny as heck, man. But you're great on there. I don't see why Hollywood doesn't call you when they open back up.
Those are fun. But you know what? Like it helps connect people because you gotta have a sense of humor, and that's another thing. Like if I were to say the top 3, go do your mirror work. Love that person in the mirror. And I know a lot of gurus are going to tell you, look in the mirror and say, I am beautiful. I am beautiful. If you don't like a single thing in the mirror, you are not going to believe that. And you are going to spend 10 years saying, I am beautiful. And you're never going to believe it. And you're never going to get anywhere. Nothing's going to change. So instead of saying that, I want you to look in the mirror next time, and I want you to just focus on that one thing you love. And if it's a character thing, if it's like, I know I'm really kind, I love to help people, whatever it is, if it's you love your nose or your hair or your eyes, I don't care, whatever it is that in your heart you know you love, that's what I want you to focus on. Not convincing yourself that the ugly parts of you are beautiful, because you're never gonna love it. And so here's another thing I like to tell people. I say, look in the mirror. Now you see what you see. If it's character, look through your character mirror. Now, what is it about your character? If people give you flack about certain parts of your character, look at that and ask yourself, do I want to change that? If it's no, if it's yes, I don't like that part of myself, then change it. And transform it, go figure it out, go fix it. If it's something that you do love about yourself, say, hey, I'm funny and I swear and I like it, so get over it. then that part of you should never apologize again for doing it. Because apologizing means you're sorry and you're going to go change it. And that gets you stuck in a pattern. So you need to really go look at the character mirror and say, is this part of my character I love about me? If so, stop apologizing about it. Now, same with your body. Look in the mirror and go, okay, my nose is really funny. Oh, well, you can't change it. So get over it. Look at something else if you don't like it. Or, use makeup. Girls are good at that. Now, or if it's like a weight thing, if it's a weight, you're overweight, something, and you don't like it, that you can change. Go change it. Go change it. So look at the mirror and really start to look at the things you love about yourself. And if you see something you don't like and you can change it, go change it. If you can't change it, don't apologize for it.
I love it. Accept the things that you cannot change, and then figure out the things that you don't like that you want to change, and then set an intention to do it, right?
Yep.
Now, so obviously part of the process is health and nutrition and exercise and all that kind of stuff. I know for me, if I'm talking about just physical changes, I know diet's so unbelievably huge.
Yes.
I've been running my whole life, and I was still relatively big when I was running because my diet wasn't very good, right? But for me, it wasn't getting on the right diet. It was that we were talking about with visualization. Did you find that the visualization preceded the healthier changes in your life?
Yes, because my visualizations were stuck in a pattern with me. Actually, a lot of women who have dealt with sexual harassment or to those degrees will visualize the fact that if they get in shape and look good, they're going to be a sexual target. So if women can get through that transformation, and that's why I said it happens in here, because when you can replace that visualization with a healthy visualization of that you can say no, that you are safe, and that you are better, stronger, and less susceptible, actually, you will be approached less than when you're overweight. I
Hmm.
promise you that. I
Hmm.
promise you that. And so
Fascinating.
it's true. And so if you can visualize, that part was my visualization when it came to losing the weight. That was where my visualization came in, was understanding that I was safe, that I was allowed to feel and look good and not be targeted.
Hmm. Super interesting. So I know a lot of the visualization I did towards health and weight loss and things like that. A lot. So I just kind of listened to some visualizations by a guy by the name of John Gabriel, and a lot of his visualizations had to do with feeling safe, right? So a lot of times, whether it's a woman who may have dealt with sexual abuse or sexual harassment or something like that, or guys, whatever it might be, a lot of times the weight issues, sometimes, and I don't want to disparage, health and fitness coaches and all that kind of stuff, but sometimes it's way more complicated than just calories in, calories out, right? Um, so many people just say, well, all you have to do is do this exercise and eat these foods and it will work. But there's oftentimes, you get into emotions, you get into hormones, you get into the release of things like cortisol, and even if you're doing the proper calories in, calories out, but your life is overwhelmed with stress or guilt or shame or whatever it might be, it's really difficult. That simple calories in, calories out equation doesn't seem to work nearly as well.
No, you get stuck in a circle. I mean, that's where I was 7 years ago. I tried to lose weight millions of times, and it's like
Hmm.
I couldn't. I
Hmm.
was missing things, right? Like I was.
Yeah, yeah, super fascinating. So the visualizations been a really big thing I know for me, and I guess I'm okay with the visualization, and I'm I guess, pretty good with that in my life. One thing I'm working on right now is meditating, right? So I'm following Dr. Dispenza's work, and I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to get into the quantum field, and having discussions
Mhm.
with friends of mine about what the quantum field is. Is it how closely related is it to God, or because as Christians, we believe, or I guess many religions, we believe God's the creator of all things, right? And so we go into the quantum. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I don't really know. I'm just asking questions. I don't know how close the
Yeah.
quantum is to God or not. I don't know, but I do know, if you listen to Dr. Dispenza's work, that the quantum is, when we get there, it's a place where all possibilities exist, right? So
Right.
whatever life that we can visualize, that we can dream up, that we think is our very best life, it exists out there, right?
Yeah.
And so he is a big advocate of using, I guess, meditation to get to that place, to change everything from healing to creating a new life that you desire to live.
Right.
So that gets me into it, and I kind of want to talk about, I posted a video today of me doing some grounding, walking in the grass there. Do you do a little bit of that? I mean, can you tell me a little bit more about? I know it's not exactly meditation per se, but I think it's within the same realm. You've called yourself the barefoot coach, so there's got to be a story behind that, right?
Well, I'm barefoot right now.
So am
I
I.
am always barefoot,
All
and
right.
like that's what happened. It happened by accident, and how I started coaching was grounding yourself. Connection. Again, we're still connecting. It's about connecting your body. And the best grounding technique you can really experience is wait for a storm to come. When you can see a storm on the horizon and it's coming,
Mm-hmm.
you can feel
Mm-hmm.
that energy, that
Yep.
energy that comes with the storm. Um, don't go with lightning. I don't want anyone to get hurt, but either when it's passing and it's kind of over the worst of it and the grass is wet, that is before, when the grass is dry and
Mhm.
it's coming in, and after it's gone and the grass is wet. Those are the two best times to ground yourself, because the ground is supercharged. you are going to feel it. Like I always said, if you could bottle, you know how people say, bottle a 2-year-old and sell that in a jar and you'll be a millionaire. That's what that is.
Very cool. All right. So, I mean, I did a little bit of reading about it. Sounds amazing. I've done a little bit of it myself. Next time we have a storm, I'll be out there in the grass. You know, I love storms. I love getting outside. I love feeling the energy.
Don't get hurt. Don't get struck or something, because I know we'll.
Right. Of course. But I mean, there's supposed to be a lot of health benefits, right? I mean, it reduces stress and inflammation. You know, I mean, do you know anything about the research? Some research on that, or?
Yeah, you know, I did a speech on this once, and I'm trying to remember. It was back in Toastmasters about a year ago. But apparently, according to research, that when shoes were invented, that is when like 90% of our population. Let's picture a child, 24-hour period. Before COVID, because now kids can't go to school. But let's picture this scenario where they wake up out of a bed that is not grounded. They crawl out of bed in a house that's not grounded. And then they walk to their shoes, put their shoes on, go to school, and they're not allowed to take their shoes off at all on the playground, anywhere. They're fully protected, right? Then they go into the classroom, shoes are still on. They come home from school, take their shoes off at the door, have snack, watch TV, do their homework, maybe go to a sport or something, and shoes on again. Of course, they have to be fully covered to be in sports. So again, shoes on their feet. They come home, they go back to bed to a non-grounded bed. That's a 24-hour period of kids not grounded. I know 50-year-olds who say they've never been barefoot. So your body has a high rate of inflammation in it when you don't ground yourself, because your body needs that connection to the earth to have better circulation and get your body in a better state.
Wow, I love it. Okay, so one major thing you're saying is if you want to reduce inflammation, grounding is a super simple, easy way to do it. And I guess the most basic thing to do is just take your shoes off and go walk outside in the grass. Is that right?
Yeah, and if it's snowy, go walk outside in the snow. Just don't freeze yourself. You know, people have said, like, how long do you stand out in the snow? I'm like, you'll know. You'll know.
You'll figure it out. Huh?
You'll figure it out.
Love it. I love it. Super cool. Very good. So grounding is one of the things we can do to kind of get ourselves back in balance, I guess. Would you say that?
Yes, definitely. It's good for your mindset. It's good for it's that electrical charge that's missing in your body that balances every part of you. I mean, that doesn't solve all problems, but it is huge for. And I tell people, if you're having a stressful moment, just set everything down and go outside, take your shoes off for a minute, and just take some deep breaths, and you will notice a difference.
I love it. So let me jump back a little bit here, because I'm kind of writing a few notes while we're talking. And you said there are a couple of suggestions you had for someone who's want to get on the path. You said do the mirror work, right? And you said there was a second thing. I'm not sure if we got to that second thing. What was the second thing you'd suggest?
So I remember there was like 3 I was going to say. So the mirror work, do the mirror work. Another one that I didn't mention was the 17-second rule. Now, remember this, and I have to go on another call in about 5 minutes, Jake, just so you know. But when the 17-second rule was a huge one for me, because you know how we're stuck in this, oh my gosh, did you hear what happened to me? This and this and this and all this shit's all this stuff is happening in my world, and here you go on that roller coaster of phoning all your friends to tell them all how bad your life is. And it's like, I tell this to my clients, and I've even had them feed it back to me. It's like, I'll tell them, okay, you have 17 seconds. Spit it out, bust it out, yell it out, scream it out, punch it out, and then you have to stop and change the subject.
I love
it. Because it happens when you go through that cycle, and you put yourself through that cycle of from one thing leads to another, And so you get caught in that circle of negativity. So if you have people in your world that are constantly on and on, just have that 17-second rule. You have 17 seconds to spit it out, and then we're changing the subject.
I
And
love
I'll
it.
even do that with people that I don't say it's a 17-second rule, but I'll listen for a few seconds and I'll be like, okay, now tell me something good.
Yep, I love it. Great advice. So I know you got to go here shortly, but there is one more thing I kind of wanted to bring up about like balancing. We're talking about balancing through grounding and whatnot, and getting the energy right in your body. I know you've been doing a lot of work with some HGH, some gel stuff that I think a lot from. I've been doing some reading, been doing some research. A lot of people have been having a lot of success. Can you tell us a little bit? From my understanding, people are way out of balance. They're eating the wrong foods. They're super stressed out. Their bodies are all out of whack. And from my understanding, I think the stuff you're working with is helping. Tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what happens when you're over 30 years old is your body, your pituitary gland, which governs all your hormone systems, goes to sleep. And I mean, I've had people say, well, isn't it naturally supposed to go to sleep? No, because what happens is our environment, our stress, chemicals, food, all of these things that we put into our bodies, even you can say you're organic. I have been in agriculture all my life. That is bull. The farmer who farms next to me is organic, but I spray chemicals on my field. Okay, whatever. It says it's organic, but not to get into that because that's a big world. But
Sure.
I want people to understand that it doesn't matter how good you try and put in your body. Stress alone is a bad chemical that's being released into your body. So
Yep.
when you have all of these things going on, your pituitary gland is shutting down much quicker than it needs to. So by the time you're 30, you've probably been through a lot of stress, and you're only getting started for most people.
Mm-hmm.
And so when that pituitary gland goes to sleep, your HGH levels, which is what your pituitary gland produces, starts to drop off dramatically. And you start to see issues like sleep. It's harder to lose weight. You're not seeing the muscle tone in the gym anymore. It's recovery from the gym takes days, and you're so sore and your muscles hurt. You're not as strong in the gym, and that's just the gym. Never mind joint discomfort that you deal with. You're going to be dealing with all of the issues that people start to say, oh, it must be age, right?
Mm-hmm.
And skin, hair, nails, like these are just like the main parts of us that we want to keep looking and feeling healthy. And all of this drops off. And so what this gel is basically is it's a secretagogue, which is a natural bioidentical plant-based gel that goes into the bloodstream, travels through the bloodstream to the pituitary gland, and massages it awake essentially. And the pituitary goes, oh, this body needs stuff, and then your pituitary gland is what puts the proper HGH and the adrenal support in it as well, supports your adrenals, your thyroid, and so your body is going back to the natural state naturally, not hormone replacement, but hormone signaling. So it's helping your body. It's an adaptogen. It adapts to your body's needs because it's your own body's functions that it's working with. So it is exciting. It's homeopathic. I said it when I was coaching. I said, I'm not planting my name on anything like this again until I saw what it was. And I mean, we're going into one country every 4 weeks, basically. So it is blowing up. It's exciting. I love to get constant feedback from people. And of course, my transformation has a lot to do with that physically, because I didn't have the energy to go to the gym. It was a tool. It was a tool that I needed to balance my hormones, my adrenals. I mean, I was on energy drinks every day and having to have a nap. I couldn't function. Sure. So that was the tool. It fit into my life perfectly. It helped me, and it's helping a lot of people. So I'm excited about it. And of course, getting to work with a team and leading a team, and it gives me a reason to travel and see people. I love it. It's perfect.
That's awesome. All right, so you got a homeopathic product, all natural, that's just helping counter all of these negative effects people are having from stress and environment in their modern world. It's putting their bodies back into balance. They're
Mhm.
it's giving them improved energy and all kinds of health benefits, right? I love it. Sounds really good. And you're doing a lot with that these days. You're traveling all over. People are falling in love with this stuff, huh?
Yes, yes, oh yes. Like I have people are like, oh my gosh, I would get a third job if this was like, and it's like they want it. They're like, I'm a jeller for life now because it's changing their lives. I have people saying, you saved my life. I have my life back. I have my
Wow.
life back. And I'm like, and compliance reasons, I can't really go into what that means necessarily, but it's
Hmm.
when your body is in balance, it is an amazing, amazing structure. It knows
Yep.
what to do. When your body's in pain, it's crying for something. So
Hmm.
instead of, like, I used to say, pharmaceuticals and like pain medications and drugs is like taking when you're on your truck and it says check engine light,
Yep.
change oil. Um, Drugs is basically like taking a hammer to that light and going smacking it, breaking it, and go, okay, I'll fix.
Yep.
Uh,
I'm super with you. I'm way against most Western medicine. Not my jam. I'm all about natural remedies and whatnot. So hey, look, I
me
know that you got to jump off. You got another call. You got to jump on. But I appreciate you hanging out with me this evening. If any of you want to know any more about this gel Judy's working with, it's you're hearing it's changing people's lives. Just I guess what's the easiest way for them to get in touch with you? Should they message you on Facebook or what?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I think you've tagged me in the video.
Hmm.
I'll share it as well. And I mean, reach out to Jake. Jake will put you in touch with me. And we'll definitely, I can answer any questions you need. And I'm here. I love to educate on it and love to help people heal their bodies and minds and start over, whether that's financially or physically.
Awesome. Hey, Judy, it's been really cool hanging out with you and getting to chat with you. Appreciate you coming on the show tonight, and we'll talk again soon, hopefully.
Thank you so much, Jake.
All
Appreciate
right.
it.
Take care, Judy.
Yeah,
Thanks.
good night.
Good night.